Hello, everybody. Welcome to Clash of the Correspondents. And this week, it's a C.O.T.C that I'm somewhat nervous about as we look forward towards Sunday's North London derby, or the battle, should we say, for Europa League second qualifying place for next season. As it was last year, lads, let me first introduce you to, without a boo, I'm going to try and be impartial, Adam Pritchard at 35, who are Arsenal correspondent. How are you, Adam?
I've never been better, James.
You lying sack of shit. And let me introduce you to Ricky Saunders at Ricky Saunders 77 on Twitter, our Tottenham Hotspur correspondent. Come you Spurs, how are you, Ricky?
Do you know what? I'm looking forward now. I'm confident after beating three shit teams. I think we're going to win the league again.
You forgot Wolfsburger is 4, mate.
Oh, sorry, yeah. That doesn't even count, though, to be fair.
No, it really, really doesn't. Adam, let's start with you at the moment. And before we get into where we're at with the clubs at the moment, and we'll do a little bit of fantasy towards the end as well, I want to know in the first instance, what does this game mean to an Arsenal fan?
It's, for me, I grew up most of my life. We've never lost this game, basically. We've been the dominant team. We've been most of my life. I'm only young, remember. And so it's sort of only gained this added importance in the kind of post sort of, let's say, 2008 era. Because for a lot of that time, let's be real, bear in mind I'm born in 97. So from 97 to sort of 08, we weren't really too concerned with you guys in terms of competition in the league. Our big rivalry was Man United and then Chelsea. But I think how severe the drop-off in Arsenal's sort of fortunes has been since 2008 has made this game all the more important. And obviously, you guys have been doing much better, and you've been doing better than us recently, let's be honest, in terms of league position and qualifying for the Champions League. So now it's not only become sort of that typical rivalry game, it's now important in terms of league position as well. Like, it's been quite often pivotal for deciding the Champions League race. And so, yeah, I think for me personally, it's gained importance as sort of our fortunes as clubs have slightly swapped around a little bit.
I don't disagree with your points and what you say on the rivalry. I mean, when I first started going down the pub, sort of 2001, 2002, Arsenal fans used to get in my face all the time and tell me that Manchester United was a bigger game to them because of the rivalry in terms of going for the title and stuff. And Ricky knows we weren't doing sod all at the time, so I get that. What changed then? Was it a case of, in your opinion, that Arsenal got better, Arsenal got worse, or Tottenham got better? Or is it just somewhere in the middle that it's met?
I think it happened. It kind of happened at about the same time. I don't know if it's. I think we started getting. If this makes sense, we started getting bad before you started getting good. If that makes sense, like our decline started before the Pochettino era. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
For you guys, but I think when you were in the Champions League under Redknapp, and you obviously sort of had pretty good nights out in Milan. I don't know. I always thought of that as sort of not sustainable, just because it was Harry Redknapp. I didn't really look at him and think, right, he's going to be your Arsene Wenger. Whereas when I saw Pochettino come on the scene, I was like, okay, shit, this is not just a good manager with a good set of players having a good season, or even an average manager with a good set of players having a good season. This is an excellent top tier manager. We're talking like one of the best in the league, with sort of one of world-class talents, to be honest. And I was thinking, okay, this could be not power shift kind of talk, but he could, if he's here for 5, 6, 7 years, that could be a shit 5, 6, 7 years for me as an Arsenal fan in this game.
Oh, that's all fairly fair. I mean, I totally get what you're saying. We've kind of been levelish overall over the last decade or so. I mean, quite often you finish fourth and we finish fifth for a number of years, for example. And then you quite right. I think it's 2005 15, I want to say. It's 16, wasn't it? The last time you finished above us when we finished third in the 2-horse race, Ricky.
That last game of the season, Newcastle, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was at St James's Park that day, and I can tell you Tottenham fans were fighting with each other. The anger was so bad. We've had I don't want to say dominance because it's not right. We haven't won anything. We've been above you for the last 4 or 5 years or so. And the previous 4 or 5 years you had been. And you'd obviously been above us for 20 years or so. And until the sort of 5 years up until 2016 or so, you'd been well ahead, challenging for titles. Ricky knows we were drifting around mid-table, bottom half of the top half, basically, not threatening you. When you lose the derby now, does it hurt more than it did then because there's more consequence? Or was it more annoying 15, 20 years ago because it was them noisy lot, they ain't going to do nothing, but they won't shut up for 3 or 4 months now?
It's a little bit of both. Like, I think back then it was sort of, like you say, I think it's partly was helped back then by the internet culture wasn't as big. I wasn't on Twitter, Twitter probably did exist, but I mean, the football Twitter that we all know and kind of tolerate now wasn't around back then. So you could sort of kind of say, oh yeah, pat the little brother on the head. Yeah, nice one. I'm sure you'll enjoy this for a bit. But now, especially Mourinho, losing to a Mourinho-led Spurs team it's horrible. I don't really think I can put into words how horrible it feels, even if I don't really want to give it that much dignity, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want you guys to know that it annoys me this much, but it does.
We know. It's fine.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and be as magnanimous in defeat as possible, but it's going to be really, really difficult. You say it all the time, James. I'm sure Ricky feels the same way. I hate it. I hate the game. I hate watching it. It's not enjoyable.
There is nothing enjoyable about that football match when it's going on from minute 1 to minute 90. I can think of probably in the 30 years I've been going, maybe 3 or 4 occasions where we've been a couple goals up and you feel comfortable. And that's like the only point, I think, like the last game at White Hart Lane and maybe 1 or 2 other occasions where you feel comfortable, can actually enjoy the process, because you can't, because the stress is too much. It doesn't even matter, like, when we played during the restart period at White Hart Lane, which was one of the first games without fans, the consequences of the match didn't matter, but I'm sure all 3 of us were a wreck on the day, because that's just what the fixture does to all of us, I think. How do you feel about the derby, Ricky? Does it matter more or less than it did?
It matters more than it did. I mean, I'm a bit older than you, James, and I'm a lot older than Adam. And when
everyone's older than Adam.
Yeah, my daughter's older than Adam almost. When I first become a Tottenham fan, there was no dominant London team. One season Tottenham would finish above Arsenal. Next season Arsenal would finish above Tottenham. And even in terms of trophies won, it was level pegging. It was only in about 93, I think it was, that Arsenal actually pulled ahead of us when they won the 2 trophies in the same year. So it was a very even thing. And then obviously Arsenal went on 20 years of kicking the shit out of us in terms of league and trophies and just dominating us in every metric you could look at. So now, and the derby, obviously, it meant an awful lot and it was very passionate, and I was probably more fierce about it then because I had to defend myself against all the Arsenal fans. Now, though, it means more because we have a chance of winning these games, and it's realistic that we go into these games as favourites, and I go into these games expecting to get a result and expecting performances. So it means a lot more from that respect now. But it's, as far as being a battle, it was more of a battle back then. And I mean, a battle for me personally, because I'd be, a lot of my family are Arsenal, so I'd be surrounded by people just ripping the shit out of me for the days leading up to it and the weeks after it, and there was not really a lot I could come back with because Arsenal just were that far ahead of us at the time. It wasn't even close, you know what I mean? With 2 clubs not even remotely near each other in terms of size.
That's hard to hear, but it's the reality. It's true.
It's a fact. Yeah,
I mean,
it's an absolute fact.
At the point when Arsenal moved into the Emirates, I mean, we were so far behind them in terms of status, financials, everything. Do you feel let down sort of 15 years on with the move to the Emirates, Adam?
Yes and no. Yes, because it was supposed to be the start of Arsenal being a super club. It was supposed to be the move that set us apart from other sort of, like, Manchester United are a global club, and the name means something. Even though they haven't been as successful in recent years, the name Manchester United still means something to people all around the world. That was what the move to Emirates was supposed to do for Arsenal. It was supposed to make Arsenal resonate globally, and Arsenal do resonate globally. We've got a huge global fan base, but that hasn't been matched by the on-the-pitch success. And for me, it's especially in Europe. I thought that the Emirates move was symbolic of Arsenal trying to establish themselves on the European stage, and it's not happened. And so I don't think you can feel anything other than a little bit let down, especially given how financially hamstrung we were by the move for so many years after, and arguably still are now.
Are Tottenham, Ricky, in a similar place where it doesn't feel, from my perspective, that we're quite as hamstrung as Arsenal were
paying for it all,
going to the Emirates? Listen, don't worry about that, mate. Listen, the taxpayers not paying as much as everyone did for West Ham's. I can tell you that, for one thing.
Touché.
Go on, Ricky.
It doesn't appear that we are. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of the financials, but no, it doesn't appear that we are. We're still able to spend money. We're not having to sell players to fund the players that we're bringing in. We have obviously got a large debt now, but I mean, Daniel Levy has worked some kind of magic to get the interest rates that he's got. It's unbelievable that he's managed to secure so much debt on such little interest. I think obviously an increase in the TV money now compared to what Arsenal were getting back in the day has helped, because we're able to restructure that debt over a long period at those interest rates. So I don't think it has. The income that we're getting from the stadium is, well, what we will get when we're allowed back in is colossal. We've been able to guarantee future payments based on future income, and I think we're able to use a stadium for more things than what Arsenal were. We've got more concerts potentially in the pipeline. We've got the deal with the NFL. One thing that Daniel Levy has been really careful to do is not give away the naming rights at all. we haven't sold them at all yet. But Arsenal's naming rights now are linked into the shirt sponsorship. And I was looking at the figures the other day, actually, funnily enough, and I don't think it's particularly that great a deal in the current climate. I think it's like about £40 million a year for stadium rights and shirt sponsorship all lumped in together. That doesn't strike me as a very competitive deal. So I think what is going to help us is that Daniel Levy, money-wise, is a far more intelligent businessman than the likes of David Dean and that, who were at Arsenal at the time, were when they signed off on their deal and they were controlling the purse strings there.
To be fair, surely Tottenham have got the advantage of learning from what Arsenal did, etc.
Yeah. I think
what Arsenal did was very new for a big club to build a new stadium like that.
For a club of that size, yeah, I mean, teams like Derby obviously have moved on, and Sunderland, but for a team of that size, no one had ever moved in such a high-profile way before, not in this country anyway. And I think a lot of learnings were taken, not just about the financials, but about stadium building as well, and the people involved in building the stadium. But yeah, we've no doubt we'd have looked at what happened to Arsenal and how they were financially constrained for a number of years, and there's been learnings from that.
Were you, Ricky, bothered when they went to the Emirates?
Yeah, massively.
Why?
Because it was another kick in the teeth for us. They've got this team that are winning all these trophies. They've got all of these players. They've got Henry and Wright and everybody. I'm sitting there watching Dean Austin and Tariko and these dog shit players. And now
we've still got a few, mate.
We've still got a few, yeah. Not quite as bad as Tariko, to be fair. And now you've got my biggest rivals, the team I hate more than anything else in the world, and they've just moved into this massive stadium, all singing, all dancing, shiny, fantastic, 60,000 people. It was horrible, and they're still, they've got no money, but they're still signing great players and they're still winning trophies.
Does that then, Adam, does it bother you the opposite now that like Tottenham have now got their stadium, or is there still well, we're doing our thing? Does it feel to you like the clubs are now almost evenly matched, and you think the stadium's kind of almost now for Tottenham the symbolism of that?
Our stadium's bigger, by the way. Just throw it on him.
Yeah,
it also looks like a toilet bowl, to be fair.
Only if you're above it, mate.
Yeah. No, I don't really care about the stadium, to be honest, because it feels like everyone's got a stadium now. Like West Ham have got the London Stadium. I know it's not their stadium, or it is. I don't know how that deal works. Everton are moving into a new stadium. It feels like it was almost weird that it would be weird if you didn't, effectively, if that makes sense. I don't. The stadium doesn't really bother me that much. To be honest, I find the fact that you put in 2 extra seats or 1 extra seat to have more capacity than the Emirates, I find that quite funny. I was like, if that's what gets your rocks off, that's fine. That's fine by me, to be honest.
Was it important?
Well, yeah, I guess it's sort of symbolic. All these stadium moves, yeah, they're for finances, but what they really mean is they're symbolic of your overall development as a club. I'd see that as a signifier of that, not really sort of, it doesn't mean anything else to me personally.
Do you, Adam, do you think you're a bigger club than Tottenham, or do you just see it, and you can answer this as honestly as or do you see it as level now?
See, bigger club implies history, and for me, there's not even, we're a bigger club.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
Are we better than you? I don't really know. I'd say we're about even, probably. It's hard to tell. We're more successful than you. And now I'd maintain that still, because we actually win trophies, and ones that sort of matter if you count the FA Cup, which I do.
You should. Listen, we'd cut your arm off for one, mate. So
no, I know you would. You'll be going nuts if you beat City, won't you?
Yeah, that's another shit myself day out, I think, mate. Let me ask Ricky the same question, just slightly differently. Are we as shit as each other?
No, no, I don't think. I don't think either club is shit. I think Arsenal are mismanaged at boardroom level, where we're not. In terms of the boardroom, we are streets ahead. In terms of the trophy cabinet, Arsenal are streets ahead, which maybe flips the question: why have we got so little in the cabinet when we run so well?
There's a lot of Tottenham fans will say, well, we did not run well because they don't spend money on transfer fees. That's the obvious answer a lot of Tottenham fans would say.
Well, that is an answer they'll give, but that's, and I don't want to slate any Tottenham fans, but a lot of them maybe don't understand what business is and how a business operates. It's incredibly difficult for a football club of any size to, and you highlighted this on the Barcelona pod. It's incredibly hard for a football club of any size to return a profit year on year, but yet we seem to do that. And not only are we returning profits, but the money we're generating is increasing every single year, and that's incredibly difficult. And we're not buying as many players as people would like, but we are buying players. We are spending money. We're not. When was the last time we sold anybody for a profit? You know, you'd have to look a long time.
Probably Harry Kane in about 3 months, mate.
Yeah, more than likely. But I mean, Trippier would probably be the last time we sold a player for a profit. and he was deemed as surplus to requirements anyway. It wasn't like a big name player that left. So we're building what we're building. We're pumping money in, but we're not doing it at a cost to what's on the pitch. We're not bringing in the players that we'd like to, but we're not losing anybody. We haven't sold a first team player in a very, very long time. And certainly nobody has gone to fund the stadium or anything else.
Are those boardroom comments fair, Adam, on Arsenal?
Yeah, no, I think Ricky put it really, really well. It's like you guys seem to be achieving to the best of your capacity, if that makes sense, and we're not at all. Like if you've seen the turnover in the hierarchy at Arsenal in the last or in the post Wenger era, it's ridiculous. You have Gazidis has gone, Mislintat has come in and then gone. Obviously, Raul Sanyehi has come in and then gone. I'm trying to think of other senior people. Darren Burgess, I think, who's a fitness sort of expert, has come in. Hus Farmi, contract negotiator, has come in and gone. We've recently had another sort of a cronky lawyer who's come in, Tim Lewis, who was one of the main reasons why Sanyehi left. He instigated this, I don't know how to put this without being libelled, investigation into...
So any opinions given are by Adam Pritchard only?
Oh, good, yeah, I'll just get sued. He sort of instigated this investigation into the Pepe transfer and some of the finances that were involved in that, which conveniently happened at the same time that Raul Sanyehi conveniently left. And then we've had Edu come in as well. And obviously within that time, we've had Emery come in as coach and then leave. And we've had Mertesacker as an interim. We've had Lundberg as an interim. We've had Arteta as a coach, and then he's now a manager. So yeah. Oh, and that's not to mention Vinay Venkateshem, I think now is involved in the board in some way. So yeah, just listen to the amount of names and bodies that have come in and come out. It's indicative of an unstable environment, and that's how I describe Arsenal's hierarchy. It's very, very unstable, whereas Tottenham, at least from an outside perspective, you don't hear much sort of talk about the behind the scenes. All the behind the scenes talk is about Mourinho now, but you don't really hear too much about the boardroom. And it feels like there's more talk about that when it comes to Arsenal.
A lot of the listeners and viewers are not going to know a lot of these names that you've just mentioned. What is the reason then for the turnover of all these people? Is it just because you've gone through a succession of a couple of different managers in the last few years after 20 plus years of stability under Wenger, or is there something deeper at play?
It's a little bit of both. The owner has no interest in football at all, no knowledge of football at all.
Great bloke.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I can't stand him. And so everything was done by Arsene Wenger. And so when Arsene Wenger left, there was a vacuum of power and there was a vacuum of football knowledge. Even Gazidis, who was CEO, I think, at the time, stepped in to fill that void. And then he got a good financial offer from his perspective from AC Milan, and so then he left. And so then effectively we were run by money men who were good at negotiating financial football deals, but there was no football structure to the club at all. And I guess you could say Edu now is supposed to fill that role, but if you look at what he was previously doing over in Brazil with the Brazil national team, he's got no club links over here in Europe. He's got no real sort of systemic knowledge of the European market, or I'm sure he's got knowledge, he's got no contacts, let's say, in European football. So Arteta is now being asked to sort of go above and beyond and almost be half a Wenger in that sense.
Hence the change of job title, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That shows how important he's become in the club structure, which which is fine from my perspective because I like him. I think he's hopefully going to take the club in the right direction. But the whole point of the post-Wenger era was to move away from that single point of failure. And he's not a single point of failure, but if he were to go tomorrow, we'd need someone like a Ralph Rangnick to come in, someone who can sort of do a bit of that dual role in terms of scout, or not scouting himself, but influencing the scouts and influencing all aspects of the club.
Let's speak about Arteta a bit more then, because there was a lot of people who thought he was going to lose his job as little as sort of 3 months ago. How did it feel during that period where it just felt like for a little while he couldn't just buy a win? I think he scored 1 goal in about 6 or 7 games at some point. Were you clear in your mind that you wanted Arteta to stay through that?
I think I said at the time, to try and keep myself honest, that it might not be a case of Arteta is a bad manager. It might just be a case that this job is too big for him. And I think that could still well prove to be true. I think it's still a huge rebuild that has to take place at Arsenal. What I've seen since Christmas is an indication that he is able to turn some of the on the pitch issues around. Our creative issues were appalling. Our creative stats, I think we were lower mid-table for shots in the Premier League, and now we're sort of top 8. We're above our league position effectively. So we've, in terms of shots against, shots for like final third pressures and sort of pressures overall, we've improved so much since Christmas. And that kind of gives me hope that what he's working on the training ground is starting to sort of work its way through to the pitch. It's just a case of, well, how fucking long is this going to take? Like, if it takes, I don't know if I'm willing to wait another entire season to see results. Like, if it comes to this time next year and I'm sat here on Clash of the Correspondents and we're 10th, I'm gonna be pretty sort of
someone please bookmark this moment. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's going to come back to bite me, isn't it?
Yeah, I should. Well, I hope so, mate.
Yeah.
Ricky, what's your thoughts on Arteta?
Up until a couple of months ago, I thought he was doing a grand job. Really loved everything that he'd done at Arsenal. Big fan of his. I think he's actually he's shown recently that he actually really is a good manager. He's identified some problems. He's found the players that he needed within the squad, because he wasn't really able to get anybody in that's fixed those problems. And he's brought in the youth, and it's paid off really, really well. It's actually really annoying. He's a lot better manager than he appeared to be at the start, which is quite concerning, if I'm being honest. But no, I think he's if he can get over this season with his job, I think he'll potentially be there for quite a few seasons.
There's no chance for separation at the end of the season, is there, Adam?
No. I think he'll be here. I think he'll be here until the end of next season, regardless. Even if we are sat here,
I tend to agree with that. I think he's made mistakes, clearly, but we have to remember it's his first job, and I think he's shown that he's learning things on them. I think he's got it. I think he's got a real passion for Arsenal, which is really important. When the previous manager, there was a real disconnect between the fan base and what he wanted to do on the pitch, which in hindsight was a bad appointment after Wenger. I think everybody knows that. I think at least Arteta has a feeling for you of what Arsenal should look like as a successful football club. Whether he can take them there, I'm not sure yet, but I think he's the right person in the job at the moment. I don't have a doubt about that. I think that some of his coaching nuances are quite interesting, actually. He worries me a little bit because there's certain things I see and I think I can see him turning them into a good side here. But at the moment, there's no consistency, and it hasn't been really since he took over. I mean, the victories over City and Chelsea in the FA Cup semi and final, which he thoroughly deserved to win, it feels like a lifetime ago, to be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think what you say there is true. He's shown an ability to tactically adapt the system, but keep the sort of philosophy and the style the same, which I think is really impressive. And he's brought things in that we've seen from Pep's City and Pep's Barcelona, and he's been able to implement them on Arsenal players, which is pretty impressive, really. And it's encouraging to see how well he's been able to get his ideas across to players who just quite frankly aren't very good. I mean, he's been able to improve a lot of players who I was willing to and was like publicly writing off and slating before he came in. And he's made them kind of worryingly crucial to the side.
I want to come back on some of those squad players in a sec. Before we do, Ricky, everyone kind of knows my opinion on Mourinho. What's yours?
I'll go a bit easier on him than you do.
I think everybody does.
Yeah, it'll be harder to lay the boot in more than you do. Look, I'm not happy with Mourinho, if I'm being honest. I mean, one thing that Adam said about Arteta improving Arsenal players, that man has not improved a single player at my club. The only Harry Kane is a bit of a different beast this year, but that's not Mourinho improving him. That's just him being forced to play him in a different position. You could say Aurier maybe has improved a little bit.
Bloody hell, that's scratching at something that is, mate.
But that's it. That's what I'm doing. I'm scratching.
What's improved Aurier is Doherty.
Yeah. Yeah, he's actually got a player that can come in and replace him. But no, he has done nothing to improve a single player at my club. In the last few games, he's changed the tactics a little bit. That's probably more to do with the fact that he's got a player in Bale that he didn't have at the start of the season, and maybe a little bit of fan pressure as well. But that's not him being some kind of tactical genius. That's him doing what we've all said he should be doing for the last 4 or 5 months. So that's not him. I don't like his football. If he left tomorrow, I wouldn't be in the slightest bit upset. I really wouldn't.
What if he wins that final against Man City?
Okay, look, it'll be great. We'll have a trophy. The rest of the football world will be poking fun at us because we're celebrating a League Cup. I don't care. I want something. Give me an Audi Cup at the moment. I'll take that.
We did take it and we celebrated it.
Yeah, exactly. we celebrated the one we were given as well because we couldn't play it. We've got 2 Audi Cups. Look, if he wins it, it means he'll be guaranteed at least one more season. So that's kind of a double-edged sword, really. Will I take Mourinho for another year and a trophy? Yeah, of course I will. I'd be a fool not to. But if he was, like I say, if he was to win that and then leave, he would sack him the next day. Yeah, great. You did what you were brought in to do, which was deliver as a trophy. Now you've done that. Let's get someone in that can utilise the players that we've got. Because what we've been playing for the majority of this season is not utilising the players that we've got. He's asking a poor defence to try and defend, as opposed to offering the chance of world-class attackers to go and attack. You know, Steven Bergwijn playing as an auxiliary right back is an absolute disgrace. The man wasn't brought into the club to do that. He was brought into the club at a time when Harry Kane was injured to try and fill his boots. And now 8 months later, the man's filling in at right back for Aurier. It's awful, if I'm being honest. And there has been improvements over the last 4 or so games. But as I said at the start of the pod, and as you've said, that's shit teams. I'm not going to look at those games and think just because we've scored a few goals and we've got some points on the board that's a massive change in our philosophy and how we're going to play. Let's see what he does against Arsenal at the weekend, because that's the first decent team we've played in a month.
Yeah, I think that's summarised well. Adam, Mourinho's played Arsenal 22 times, won 12, drawn 8, lost 2. One of those 2 losses was actually the Community Shield. Why do you hate him so much?
Oh God, that could be a podcast in itself. I think on two levels. I think his football is horrendous. I think it's...
You won't get an argument.
No, I was going to say,
neither.
preach to the choir. It's so mind-numbingly reductive what he does, and he just limits. I think he's had a track record of limiting some really, really exciting attacking players. And then I just think he's a horrendous, vile human being, to be quite honest. I think the way he conducts himself is appalling. I think the way he speaks about other managers is appalling. I think the way he treats his players quite often is appalling. And I don't think he's got any respect for anyone but himself, quite frankly. I don't really think he cares.
I'll have to get you on the pod every Monday, mate. You can speak for me.
No, I think you look at the way, and obviously his comments about Arsene Wenger and the way he treated Arsene Wenger is the reason why I think this.
Yeah.
I think he's shown no respect to Arsenal as a club, or Arsene Wenger as a man. And then you've got the whole incident with his I can't remember,
Eva Canero.
Yeah, that's right. And the way he's so willing to throw players under the bus at the drop of a hat, and his comments even about Bale recently, where he's not really praising Bale necessarily. He's saying, "Oh, look how brilliant I am for playing Gareth Bale," and it's like, well, why don't you give the guy some credit for what he's done on the pitch rather than bigging yourself up for finally playing a player that you've had on the books all season?
I think he massively regrets the attack on Wenger, actually. I do believe that in him. I think he looks back on it and goes, I went a bit far there.
He also went a bit far when he poked Tito Villanova in the eye. In the
El Clasico, yeah. Was that the 5-0 game they lost as well?
I can't remember the score.
But that's that's the Mourinho tactic, right? If it's going bad on the pitch, do something to distract away from what's happening on the pitch. That's the way he works. Anyway, I'm sick of talking about him again now. Let's talk about players anyway. You mentioned, Adam, that there's a lot of players in the squad not good enough. So who do you still want to see at Arsenal in 24 months or so?
I think Bukayo Saka is the best. I think he's the best young English player in the league. I think he's better than Phil Foden. That's controversial. I'm sure I'm the only person who thinks that. I think he is able to have a bigger influence on a game than Phil Foden does. In terms of where we need to improve, because that's probably easier than me listing out everyone who I want to leave. I think we need a new right back. That really came clear to me in the City game. When you see what Cancelo can do, and I know not everyone can be how Cancelo, or not every club can have a fullback as influential as him, but when you see what he can do, I just don't think Hector Bellerin can do that. He's not built as the kind of player to step inside and come inside and have an influence on the game in midfield. And when you've got Kieran Tierney bombing on down the left, I think football is moving on, or at least Arsenal are moving on from having two bombing fullbacks. I think when we've got Kieran Tierney going down the left, and if we continue with Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side, which is where I think he's best, I think we need a right back who is capable of going forward a little bit, bringing Bukayo Saka into play on that wing, but also coming inside and covering for Xhaka's many, many deficiencies, which is where else we need to improve. We also need a central midfielder to partner Partey. And I'd say we probably need to sign Ødegaard permanently, or we need a number 10. Those are the three.
Sign Ødegaard permanently, because the impression I've got is it's probably not. But then it seems strange that it happened. He does look a good player.
No, yeah, I think he's really, really good. If Zidane stays in the Madrid job, I think it's more likely. If Zidane goes at the end of the season, then I can't see it happening. But we need a creator in that position so desperately, and that's what kind of instigated the turnaround after Christmas, was Emile Smith-Rowe coming into that position.
Agreed.
And it's obviously I think he's been very, very good. I think part of him being good is just having someone in that position at all, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Mesut Ozil was never going to be that player. I can't believe we've gone like 40 minutes into this. And
I wasn't going to bring him up. You did.
Well, no. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I'll have to scold myself later for that. But yeah, no, I think it was someone just playing in that number 10 that was almost as important as what ESR could do. So yeah, we need a right back, we need a 10, and we need a central midfielder, really.
You need a centre forward.
We've got a lot of good young attacking players, so I worry that bringing in another body into what we've already got would sort of stunt their growth. I think it's looking more likely that Lacazette will go. So if we sell Lacazette, absolutely, we need someone in the mould of like an Alexander Isak at Real Sociedad or a Dembele, someone like that, someone who's got multiple facets to their game, who can bring others into play, but is more of an all-round centre forward with a bit of pace to get in behind. And we probably need a centre-back as well, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a few. I'll come back to them because some of them are quite interesting, possibly for FPL. What does Tottenham need, Ricky, in the summer? Where's this going? You know, who do you want to stay at the club? I mean, Kane's son's obviously fairly straightforward. What else do Tottenham need?
We probably need, maybe not desperate for next season, but certainly the season after, we need a replacement for Hugo. He's coming towards the end now, I think. It's not urgent, but that's something that needs to be considered. The two backups that we've got, obviously they will always be backups, I think. Shall I get started on the defence, or should we just take that as read that we need basically four defenders?
We need.
Yeah. Well, look, Regulion, Reggie's brilliant. Love the geezer. That the clause in his contract is a little bit worrying that he could be taken back to Madrid at any point. But that's if he wants to go.
He'd go.
Well, I mean,
he'd go.
I probably would as well, to be fair. But that's a little bit worrying because currently he's the only one of our defenders that I would keep. Rodon is half decent. He'll make a good player. I like Jaffet. Let's see how he develops. But the defence as a whole, we need two centre backs minimum. Replace Aurier, a possible replacement for Reggie. Midfielders, we're kind of strong in this area and we're not at the same time because we've got lots of really good players, but we've got a lot of players that make mistakes as well. Love Sissoko, love the work he does. Can I see him being any more than what he is at the moment? No, not really. Winksy is one of our own, but he just doesn't offer a lot going forward. As I like driving the team forward, makes a mistake, passes the ball sideways. So probably need someone to go alongside Tanguy because Højbjerg is good. He's really good, but in a top team, I don't think he's good enough. You know, he's not anywhere near the level of I can't think. Who's the Chelsea geezer? I can't think of his name.
Kovacic, Jorginho, Mount.
No, the
Kante.
Kante, that's it. Sorry, Kante. He's nowhere near that level. So we need maybe someone a bit better than him. Going forwards, I think we're if Bale maintains the level that he's got to at the moment, we're going to be fine going forward. I'd like to see Dane Scarlett maybe playing a few more
talent,
games.
doesn't he, the boy?
He looks mustard. I'd like to see him getting a few more minutes. There's nothing wrong with certainly in the last 3 or 4 games. It'd be nice to see him on the bench when the game's won. Like Palace the other day, 4-1 up. Give the man 20 minutes as opposed to bringing him on.
You can't justify it though when they got Vinicius in on loan and paying him a considerable amount on wages and stuff. For those who don't know Dane Scarlett, he's a 16-year-old, and he really does look quite an exciting prospect, actually.
He's younger than me.
Someone
only
is
just.
Adam. Yeah, only just.
Yeah.
He's got less facial hair than you at the moment, believe it or not, mate.
Oh, fair play.
Let's talk FPL a little bit then. Obviously, we play each other this weekend, and then we both play in this blank fixture in game week 29. One of only 8 teams, or two of only 8 teams that do, I should say. Adam, you bought Aubameyang last week. Am I right in saying that?
You are correct.
And he scored.
He did.
Congrats. Do you have any other Arsenal players, and what's the plan?
Well, yeah. So I brought in Aubameyang mainly because I needed another 29 player, and I wanted an Arsenal player, just because the run afterwards, I don't have a wild card left. I'm chipped out, so I needed a player who played in 29, had a good enough run towards the end of the season that I'd be happy holding them through from now until the end. Aubameyang has a really, really good record against Burnley. I think he's got like 8 in 8 or 7 in 8 games, or something like that. And we had a really good record that we still haven't lost at Turf Moor. I sold Salah for him. I think Liverpool, something's going on there. And
Noticed.
He looks pretty off it. And if I'm going to sell one of Bruno or Salah, Man United get a penalty every 3 games, and the last penalty, that's statistically true in the league. They get a penalty every 3 games on average.
Be right, all right without him for the next 2 then, wouldn't I?
Well, yeah, exactly. You should be okay. And to be fair, before City, the last penalty that they got was 3 games before that against Newcastle. So it's like clockwork with him. So I'm happy keeping him and not selling him for now. Other Arsenal players I'd look at, I can't go with the centre backs. I would have said Rob Holding 2 months ago, and now I don't know who our 2 starting centre backs.
But Mari's 4.4, I think, and he's played the last 3. Is there anything to be considered there?
In an ideal world, like, I would partner Gabriel and Mari as our 2 starting centre backs on form. I've been really, really impressed with Pablo Mari recently. Quite surprised, actually. I think we only paid like 4.5 million for him. It's a really, really good buy. But they're both left-footed, so they won't start together.
Yeah.
I think Gabriel is our best centre-back. He won Player of the Month 3 months in a row at the start of the season. He was excellent, and then he got injured, suspended, and then had COVID. So it's kind of been a longer process for him coming back. The problem with the centre-backs is because they're all sort of a par, other than Gabriel, they can be rotated in and out so easily. Like Thursday, tomorrow, as we're recording this, I wouldn't be surprised if Gabriel and Holding started, which would then indicate to me, okay, it's likely to be Mari and Louise at the Sunday weekend, which is terrifying from a non-FPL perspective.
No, we're good.
I would guess Kieran Tierney is the only one I'd be assured of a start. Even Bellerin on the right, I don't think is as secure.
That was Chambers' first league start for, I think, over a year, wasn't it, at the weekend?
Yeah. No, he's had another Arsenal player with an injury shock. He had quite a bad injury and is only just coming back, and he was not even playing in his natural position. But yeah, Leno is always secure. We're not going to play Matt Ryan, and we're certainly not going to play Runnison. So yeah, and then I guess not defensively, you're looking at Saka. Emile Smith-Rowe picked up another injury. He's a very injury-prone player. There was talk that even before one of the games recently, he didn't train because of sort of injury issues. So really, it's only Aubameyang, Saka, Tierney, and Leno are ones that I would say, yeah, they're decent picks.
All right. Have you got any of them, Ricky?
Of Arsenal, no. The only one I'm really considering is Aubameyang. I'm undecided if I'll get him for the 29 blank, but he will almost certainly be in my sort of wild card in 31. And I'm not really looking at anybody else from there at all. Maybe the likes of Saka if I need to go, need a cheapy midfielder. But I think there's a lot of really good options. And to be fair, at the minute, money isn't an option for anybody. I don't think. I'm not going to have Salah. I sold him about 3 weeks ago. I'm probably not going to go down the KDB route. So money isn't going to be any kind of issue at all. So I don't think I need to pick up any of the Arsenal cheapies.
It feels difficult to justify going Aubameyang over Saka at the moment, Adam, because of the sheer price difference. But I get it. To be honest, I'm thinking the same. I'm thinking, well, I've got 5 million sitting in the bank at the moment. Gundogan in the Man City team on Wednesday night. At time of recording, we're actually recording during the game. And I'm thinking, well, he might get arrested at the weekend. I could just about squeeze to go Gundogan to Aubameyang, actually. This weekend, possibly. And then I've got the game in 29 as well. So I might be getting 2 games over Gundogan if he doesn't play at the weekend. And that's a potential consideration. I think if it's affordable, you should go with a guy that's explosive, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. If you can afford Aubameyang, I don't really see why you wouldn't go for him. And he's on penalties when he's on the pitch, because now he's playing as a striker. Lacazette isn't starting. And there's, I guess Pepe could take it, but he's sort of been in and out of the side a little bit lately as well. So yeah, I don't really see an argument, value aside. And like Ricky said, value isn't really kind of that important at this stage of the season when we're considering selling premium players like Bruno and Salah.
What would you say to people? Because I think Ricky sounds like he's on the same strategy as myself, which is probably to wildcard in 31 after you play Liverpool. So I could look at someone like Aubameyang or Tierney as short term, but definitely I think you've got the best run of fixtures of any club from 31 to 38. But if you're still 10th in the league and you're still in the Europa League, is it just a void? Because all the eggs will go into it.
No, I don't think it's just a void, because what will happen then is, even if all the eggs do go into the Europa League basket, I still think players like Aubameyang will play in the Premier League. He's had, he obviously had some time off earlier in the season, so he has missed games. He's had a couple of rests in the league, and he's used to the sort of Thursday, Sunday kind of rotation. It's someone like Saka that I would be more wary of, who has shown signs of when he starts fatiguing, his output drops off, whereas Aubameyang he's at that level of his career where he can sort of still produce on the pitch, even if he's a little bit tired. So yeah, I still think Aubameyang will be one to consider. And also there's the possibility that, look, if we do go far in the Europa League, someone like Willian could be a Premier League starter every week. As much as I'd not like to see it, that could happen, and then maybe he becomes an option. Maybe someone like Martinelli comes into the fold as an option, something like that.
Let me tell you, I still don't want Willian to play at the weekend, because I know he didn't score against us last time, but he does have a good history of scoring against us. Why do you lot hate him so much?
It's awkward saying it now, because he has actually been okay the past couple of games. Part of the reason why he's not liked by Arsenal fans is the context of the deal at the time. We paid him, I think we've got him on like a 2+1 or a 3-year deal on a lot of money. We gave him a length of contract that Chelsea, who were his club, weren't willing to give him. They know more about the player than we do. So why are we so confident that he's going to be able to perform at this level for 3 years? And then there's the issue with his agent and the links his agent had to Rouse and Yehi, and some suspicions that deal was done to sort of cozy up the relationship. And when you've got an agent sitting in a director's box at home games, that always puts a bit of a sour taste in the mouth. So it's partly that, and it's partly he's been pretty woeful this season. He's barely shown an ability to run, let alone sprint. He's had little impact. I can't think of many games where he's either started or come on and I thought, oh wow, Willian looks good, or oh wow, he's done anything at all. I mean, we were overjoyed when he got a air quotes assist in the Europa League for. I don't know if you saw the Arsenal game where
it's bad enough watching my own team in the Europa League. Never mind yours, mate.
Tierney scored a nearly nice strike from near the edge of the area with a nice little bit of footwork. Willian made about maybe a 5-yard pass to him, and Arsenal Twitter was going, "Oh, look, Willian assist. That's how bad it is."
Bantering yourselves, basically.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. Who's the Spurs assets in the side, Ricky, for yourself?
Currently, I've got Son and Kane.
But.
No, there's no but. There's no but.
Are you going to do it? I was going to say, are you going to do it?
Do you know what? I brought him into my draft team a couple of weeks ago, and I brought him in. I think I brought him into the differential team last week. So he's on my radar. This week, I had the money to go Harvey Barnes to Kane. Harvey Barnes to Bale, and I did Harvey. I don't know why I did this. I did Harvey Barnes to Lingard. It worked out. He got a goal, but he can't play the next game. Bale got 2. So I want to get him in. I just don't know what the route is before 29. It's either going to be taking him out for Gundogan or Fernandes, and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep either of those two after the wild card yet. So I don't know if I'm going to do that. And all my other midfielders have got a game in 29. So I might just skip Bale for now and go for Regulion if I get a third in for 29.
If you were buying one of Son or Bale today, which one would you buy?
Bale.
Really, you're adamant about it, because I'd go the other way and say Son.
I'd go. The only reason why I haven't done that switch is I don't want to use a transfer to take out a player that's got a game in 29. I mean, look, you watch all the games, James, and your analysis is going to be a lot more detailed than mine, so maybe you'll correct me. But one thing I have noticed is that now when we break forward, if the ball is on the left flank, if the ball's on the left flank, Son is on the right flank. If the ball's in the middle, he's staying in the centre. It's Kane that's getting into the box. Kane. It's Bale that's getting into the box. He's the one that's making those runs, whereas Son is playing the more supportive role. And Son only really starts breaking into the box when Bale goes off the pitch. So in effect, you're kind of getting 20, 25 minutes of Son as opposed to 90 minutes beforehand when it was Son that was making those runs into the box and being Kane's main support, or being the one that Kane was looking for as the main attacking threat. So Son's attacking potential for me has fallen off a cliff a little bit when he's on the pitch with Bale, and for that reason, when I wildcard, if not before, it's probably going to be Bale coming in, but at the expense of Son.
My concern with Gareth is I think it's week to week in terms of him staying fit.
And that's why I haven't really pulled the trigger.
It's easy to look at it and go, Burnley, Fulham, he did nothing in the Fulham game, Bale. To be honest, most of our players didn't. And then Palace. Yes, Burnley, Palace, and some Austrian team. Yeah, he's looked very good against. And he generally does look fit now. But I'm not sure we should be piling in ahead of the North London derby and then Villa away. It was 3 away games to come for Tottenham, actually. I'm not sure this is right.
No, I'm not. That's why I'm quite comfortable doing nothing with Bale. And I'm probably going to miss out on a few points, but I'm happy to wait until a wild card, because I'm going to have all that data. Three games in the league, plus a couple of Europa League games as well. So I have a lot more data to work with to decide whether to go free. I think free attacking players is a bit overkill. So it's a case of, do I think that Bale is going to be better going forward than Son? But if I had to pick right now, I'd go Bale.
Okay, interesting. Who's got the better left back, guys? Go, argue.
Well, left back.
Is this an argument? Ricky.
Your left back's going to be gone back to Madrid in a couple of years.
Yours will be playing at Man City with Saka, mate.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, Ours can't go to Madrid because he gets sunburnt by looking at a I think Kieran Tierney is a more well-rounded fullback. I think Reguilon is probably a better wing back.
Yeah. I was quite surprised that we even signed Reggie, if I'm being honest, because he's not a Mourinho player. He is far better going forward than he is defensively. And that's I remember the Mourinho teams that fullbacks weren't allowed to cross the halfway line. So I don't know what he's doing in a Mourinho side. But no, I think Adam's spot on. As a wing-back, Reggie is a great player and better than Tierney. But I'd probably, this really hurts, but I'd probably rather have Tierney in my side, in the Tottenham side currently, because the rest of the defence is so poor. But if it was a Tottenham side from 2 years ago, I'd take Reggie in that team because we were better defensively.
The reason I ask about those two specific players, and I think Tierney's great as well, Adam. I don't think there's a lot between the two. Some have got strengths over the others and vice versa. It's probably between the two teams, I think it's the only position where both sets of fans are happy with what they've got across the board, even at the top end. I think it's probably the only position where both teams would say, yeah, I'm happy with my left back. If he was to play every week, I'm very happy with that. And that's basically the only thing we've got in common, because unfortunately, both clubs at the moment have still got too many shit players. And that's the reality move on. That's why we're both adrift in a season where obviously what's happened to Liverpool recently, nobody's really staked the claim. Chelsea have sacked their manager. Leicester have been in there. I mean, Christ, even West Ham have got a shot. Spurs and Arsenal have missed another massive opportunity where simple consistency would have had them in a top four race.
We've both got a lot of players that in good teams you can afford to hide, but we've both got a lot of teams of passengers effectively. Yeah. Like David Luiz in a good Chelsea team, you can sort of cover. Bellerin, even in a good Arsenal defence, you can sort of cover for his weaknesses. Xhaka, if you can sort of hide a little bit. I could say the same about Eric Dyer. You can sort of cover, and you guys did for quite a while. Even Aurier, you can sort of cover his weaknesses. Sissoko can be a body in a decent team. But when you've got sort of 4 or 5 of these players and they're the spine of your side, you end up 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th.
What are you most worried about for Sunday, Adam? Or what are you most looking forward to?
Looking forward to the final whistle.
It being over.
Yeah. What am I most worried about?
You might not be, by the way.
No, that's true. I think if we go a goal down, I think that's it. I don't think we'll come back. If we're not winning...
Have you seen us defend, mate?
Have you seen us attack after the 70th minute? Not even the 70th minute, the 60th minute. You see, like, the amount of chances we fluff is astonishing. We are such a... we're not ruthless. And I think in Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, you've got, right now, 2 most ruthless players in the league. I don't really know if there's any argument in terms of form. Maybe you could put Bruno in there.
No, well, this is part way our frustration is because we've probably got the best attack in the league on its day, mate. That's why we will get so annoyed.
See, I heard that on a podcast before, and that's what got me off on a little bit of my sort of take about Bale suddenly making Tottenham the best attack in the league. I think that's a bit nonsense when he's...
If you leave him out for a minute, Son and Kane's the best partnership this season of any Premier League season. So just them two.
Exactly. If you put, I think you could put a lot of sort of average to good players alongside Son and Kane, and they would look excellent. And what you've got is you've got a Bale who feels confident. And I'd say, like, I wouldn't take Gareth Bale in the Arsenal team. I don't think he'd get into our attack. But I think because of what Kane and Son can do in terms of manipulating a defence, it's really, really well suited to what Gareth Bale can do at this stage of his career, where he's not a winger, where he's quite an intelligent sort of penalty box inside forward kind of a player.
Ricky, what are you looking forward to and what you're shitting yourself about?
Well, just one thing. Adam, you said about Kane and Son being the most deadly. I saw a stat earlier on today that Kane has scored 3 goals from his last 21 shots, whereas Aubameyang has scored 4 from his last 10 over the last 4 games. So I don't know if that's a massive jump for Aubameyang, or I know that Kane's had a lot of shots, especially I think in the Fulham game. But yeah, there's a little bit of where Kane has always been very, very deadly. He hasn't been showing that deadliness recently. But the thing I'm looking forward most to on Sunday, is seeing a Welshman running at full pelt to a camera doing that. That'd be nice to see.
I think Adam was just sick in the back of his mouth.
Well, to be fair, I'm half Welsh, so I can feel myself doing that and send it to you. I mean, yeah.
There's a particular Welshman I'm looking for. You know, not anyone.
Ben Davis.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Wales playing the rugby on Saturday. So.
I'm worried about who he's going to pick at defence. I mean, any one of our defenders is going to worry me. Centre backs. Aubameyang is in a bit of form, and he has got the ability to twist them inside out. So that's every time I think Arsenal attack, I'm going to be nervous, and that's going to make an already unenjoyable game even more unenjoyable. I'm looking forward most of all to seeing our front 3/4 attacking Arsenal. I think it's going to be an enjoyable game for the neutral, so it's going to be end to end. A team that can't score against a team that can't defend. It's going to be a good watch, but I just want it to be over. They're horrible games. I don't enjoy them. I mean, the last game, it was one of the most one-sided North London derbies you could ever see on either side. Certainly, as a Tottenham fan, very comfortable win. But I sat there next to my brother-in-law is Arsenal, and it was awful. Even the fact that he was reaching for Mogadon and razor blades, it didn't make it any more enjoyable for me, because it was just the nerves in that game are awful. So yeah, just for it to be over. But I want to see. I want to see just a full flowing Tottenham attack.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. What I'd really love to see, if I'm being honest, is for Dele to make an appearance and score a worldie. That would make my day.
Can you see that as in him even make an appearance?
I can't even see him anywhere near the bench. If I'm being, well, no, he'll probably be on the bench, but he won't get brought on unless we need something. If we're 2-0 down in the 75th minute, he might get a cameo, but I can't see him getting anywhere near the pitch other than that.
And any concern at all, Ricky? I mean, we're obviously recording this prior to both clubs' Europa League games this week. Any concern at all on Bale starting Sunday for you?
No.
Even if he played 90 minutes on Thursday, which I'm sure he won't, but...
Mourinho, he can't afford at the minute. Bale is one of our form players. If he leaves him out, then he's got nowhere to go when his excuses start coming out. He's got to play him, because he's got, well, look, I gave you the team you wanted. It's their fault, not mine. So no, Bale plays. Any form player at the minute plays, which is why I can't really see any changes from the team other than Winks dropping out for Tanguy. I can't see any change. Oh, and Doherty. I can't see any changes from the team that beat Palace.
Adam, correct score prediction, mate.
Correct score prediction. I think it will be 1-1.
Ricky?
Yeah.
I thought about this early because I knew you'd ask me. And
I always do.
Yeah, the first score that comes to my head was 3-2. I can actually, to us, obviously. I can now. I think it's going to be a draw as well. I'm going to say 2-2. I'd love to see a nice little 3-2, but I think 2-2 draw. I can't see many heroic defensive efforts. You know, our attack is better than our defence, and your defence is better than your attack. But I think there'll be some goals in it.
The real question is, what minute will Harry Kane dive for his penalty?
14?
It'll be first half.
Yeah. We normally go in front and blow it, and if you normally go in front, you normally blow it. Yeah, exactly. I would have bet my son's food for a week that you were both going to say a draw, because I'm going to do the same as well. Cause nobody wants to be the one that says, I think we're going to win, and nobody at the same time wants to come on this pod and go, I'm shitting myself, I think we'll get beat. Because if both teams both play at their best on Sunday, the game could go either way. Because I think you're far stronger defensively, Adam, but we've got that triple threat up front. Can score from anywhere at any time. we're so brittle defensively that we could play well and still comfortably get beat. You've got brilliant counter-attacking players in the right areas. And I genuinely think it's an easy thing to say, but the game could go either way. Historically, Adam, obviously in the game, the team that scores first in many cases has not gone on to win the game. We saw that in the restart period at Tottenham, where for 20 minutes you were very comfortable and then the game just kind of slipped away from you, and then you dominated second half and still lost. Obviously in the game in December, you never really looked like you were going to score once we got ahead. And obviously the second goal, you could have equalised, but we scored, and then that was game done. I don't have the trust in Tottenham to hold on to a lead that I did then, going back 3 months ago. To be honest, we haven't improved as a defensive unit, irrespective of who plays.
Worse.
And offensively, you've got better since then. But I do know that at the top end, if we counter properly, we can damage you. I will go 1-1. But if someone had to pin me to the wall and say, who do you think will win out of the two, I would say Arsenal.
See, I'd be the opposite.
I think it's the negative fan ingrained in us to feel like that, Adam.
Yeah, that's true.
Ricky's he drinks more than us, I think.
Yeah.
That's where the confidence is from.
What I did for years, especially when Arsenal were that bit better or that lot better than us, in the lead up to the game, I'd say, yeah, we're shit, you're going to beat us. So that when we did get beaten, I could turn around and say, well, I told you, there's no point having you can't rib me because I knew it was going to happen. But I do feel confident that we are. We can go away and win at Arsenal. We've done it a few times now. We have got the players to do it. It's not a case of it was Harry Kane or nobody else. We can now do damage on multiple fronts. And although we are shit defensively, I think that the attack will outweigh the defence and we'll be able to get the goals we need. I hope.
Gents, thanks so much. This is obviously a longer than normal version of Clash of the Correspondents, but with it being the derby, I thought we'd go over both clubs in a bit more detail. Next week's Clash of the Correspondents, we'll be previewing another huge game. Get the popcorn ready for FPL Seagull and FPL Footballer ahead of that huge clash between Brighton and Newcastle in game week 29. By the time it comes around, I felt I'd be more nervous for that one than I was really for this one. Adam, you're a gent. Well done for putting up for with us two, talking about Tottenham and whatnots. You're a good one amongst a lot of bad eggs, mate. So thank you. I would wish you good luck Sunday, but he obviously don't mean it. I could also say may the best team win, but I don't think that's us anyway. So I'm not going to say that either. But try and enjoy it. Remember, and this is a good thing always to remember, what I've started telling myself recently about these games is it's not like they're never going to beat you again, James. One day Arsenal are going to beat Tottenham and life goes on. Just before we finish, where do you think you finish, Adam, in the league?
I don't even know where we are in the league now, to be honest.
No one does, mate.
16th, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. We've got a good run, so I'd hope. I think this is going to sound so pathetic. I hope we finish above Villa. Exactly. It's as pathetic as it sounds, and I feel as stupid as.
To be fair, they beat you twice this year, mate.
Exactly, and I don't know how, and I still don't know how. They're above us. So yeah, I guess like 8th, 7th. I'll be fine with that.
No chance of top 4, even with that run of fixtures at the end.
I think the top 4, I'm pretty sure I already know who the top 4 will be at the end of the season. And
who would they be?
I think it will be City, United, Chelsea and Liverpool.
Not Leicester.
No. I think
Ricky, thoughts? Have Tottenham still got a chance? I ruled it out as well.
We've got a chance. I think it's 8 points between us and Leicester, and they're going to be the team that drops out. The top 2, they're going to be safe. Chelsea are going to be in there. If anyone is going to drop out, it's Leicester. I think we'll finish 5th, and I think Leicester will hang on to 4th. Their run is their final few games is actually really quite good, to be fair. If they had harder games, I think we maybe have more of a chance. But it depends on what we do in the Europa. If we're in that, Mourinho will target that. He loves a trophy and he will take the Europa over league. With Leicester being out the Europa, they've now just got a clear run of league football. So I think they'll hang on but I reckon we'll finish fifth. We'll them East London lot they're going to fall away. Antonio will get an injury and they'll plummet. And I think we'll have enough to see off Everton.
Where do you think we'll finish?
Fifth. I'll go fifth. Yeah, just missing out. Leicester fourth.
You got more confidence than me, mate. Fair game. Send us some of your special brew and I'll have some of that, mate. Cheers, guys. You can follow Adam on Twitter at @35who and you can follow Ricky at Ricky Saunders 77 on Twitter. Thanks very much, guys. This won't be the last time we play each other this season, by the way, guys. We are absolutely fated to play each other in the Europa League. I doubt it will be in Gdansk for the final because neither of us are good enough to get to that stage. Quarterfinals, I can see it. Arsenal Tottenham in Europa League. Oh dear, as if once a week wasn't bad enough. Thanks, guys. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Tottenham.
Go on, Adam. Go on, say something. Go on.
No, I just hope we don't get embarrassed.
Cue music, please, man, child.